Wow. IT people. Oh, they go my bird block. Okay, let me take out my hair because Tanisha look like a person. She
Oh, gosh, this is going to be so crazy.
every day. What be your favorite so far? Until that comes.
Let me try to keep my stuff together.
Recording in progress.
All right, it is 2 p.m. We can go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everybody to our latest edition of Bring a Hacker to Work Day. And this is an especially good day because my friend and co-worker, Tanisha O'Donoghue, is hanging out with us. Tanisha, amongst other things, is the Director of Policies and
Policies and procedure
and for Black Girls Hack. Yeah. And strategic partnerships.
Yes, those two.
Yeah, she's actually going to be getting an upgrade, but we have to vote on it to make it official later on in the month. So, Tanisha, so I'm not sure if you've checked out some of the other Bring a Hacker to Work days, but basically you talk to us about, what it is that you do, how did you get here, what do you attribute to your success, and then we end with your world domination plan. And I got to tell you guys, I'll promise to try to keep a straight face today, but it's probably not going to work out that way. So I'm going to try. Tanisha, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Can you guys see me? I'm in the light, so I'm like, it's glaring off my forehead. So, my name is Tanisha O'Donoghue. I am a information security analyst. I'm not. So sorry. I've been saying that elevator speech for a long time, so clearly it's stuck in my head. I am a risk and compliance specialist.
Look, you got upgraded. Let them know.
Speech, that's how you know elevator speech are stuck. It's stuck in here because I'm ready to ramble on about the things that I don't do currently. I am a risk and compliance specialist. I am in the world where I'm trying to get into maybe auditing. I think that's next for me. What else was the question? I'm sorry.
How did you get here?
How did I get here? That's a very good question. First I wanted to be a cop. And everyone's kept laughing at me that I was short. And because I was short, I would say, you mean
like not sure, like positive?
No,
you mean like
I'm like
vertically inclined?
I say I'm 5'2". Sometimes it says 5'1", but somewhere in between there. I'm pretty tall in my head. So I went back and forth with careers, and I stumbled upon cybersecurity when I was going back to college. And I got here because I wanted to be a cop of the internet. That's in layman's terms. I was like, oh, they secure the internet. That sounds like what I want to do. And then I fell in love with all of the things that is cyber and trying to understand. I fell in love with understanding the things that encompasses cyber security. And that's how I got here. I started with a program called Year Up. It's a 1-year program that's half of the year you're linked with a community college, and they provide the resources for you to go back to school for free. And you're able to get a stipend. You have a mentor in your field and a coach that will help you to grow in your professional development and in your personal life to be able to manage going into a corporate role. And then the second half of the program is being linked with a Fortune 500 company. My internship was with Symantec. I think it was one of the greatest things I accomplished so far. Because when we actually had to create a a campaign to vote on where you were going to go. So from day one, I said, I'm going to Symantec, and I made a whole campaign. I had a whole speech. I had a picture with me with the Symantec behind me. I had a whole thing. But needless to say, I won the only cybersecurity spot from my location to Symantec. I'm a good campaign woman. So I went ahead and did that, and that experience really opened up my eyes to what life can be like and what cybersecurity is and what it can be. That I was able to work with two different teams, which was the internal SOC for Symantec, and I worked for the architecture and engineering team out of Silicon Valley, and I did vulnerability scanning and management. So that piqued my interest into vulnerability scanning and vulnerability management. And then I got a role as a SOC monitor, which is completely different than that, which is just monitoring alerts and not doing any of the risk and compliance part of it. I did a bit of firewall management and just getting more understanding of different software. So that was my first really official cybersecurity job. I was a monitor. I wasn't even an analyst. So we have to start somewhere. I was just happy to be in the role, to actually feel like I accomplished the things that I set out to do, which was to get into the field and to work really hard to do the things. I was thankful to be there because when I got there, I felt a bit behind the curve, because everyone in the room, the imposter syndrome, everyone in the room have been in cyber or some type of tech or had some interest in it. I'm one of those people who stumbled upon this career because it seemed interesting and then continued to learn from it. After that, I worked at Howard University for 3 years. I worked as an information security analyst. And
I feel like there should have been like, you know, an HU alumna just popping up being like HU or
yeah. But I'm not an alumnus of Howard University. I would have loved to been, but I'm not, and deep in my heart, I still wear all my gear, and everyone is like, you didn't graduate there. I'm like, mind your business. I work there. Okay. So I have all the gear. I still do my running in my Howard hat and my sweatshirt. So I added to value. But that was a great experience because my team was very small and I had a very hands-on CISO that saw potential in me, and he's still my manager, and not my manager. He's still my one of my mentors right now. He literally texted me today. He lives in the West Coast. He's like, hey, what's going on? And one thing throughout my career is that I try to connect with people that are in the places I want to go, so that you're able to understand and learn and get different perspective. There are certain things that I wouldn't know or I wouldn't learn because I'm just new to this. I'm usually the youngest Black woman in the room that's unmarried. So have all these things against me, and having people around you, a support system to help you get through those tough political conversations, and being diplomatic and learning how to present yourself, having your elevator speech that I gave the wrong, the wrong title for.
Stay ready. You don't have to get ready.
Okay. I'm apparently I'm not ready, but I was ready. Let's say that. To say all of those things is that we that has helped my trajectory in my career tremendously. Being able to say that when I interviewed for Howard University, I didn't get it on my first try. I interviewed for Howard University right off of my internship, and I was denied. I didn't have enough experience. I wasn't aware of certain things. But I had a mentor that told me to write a thank you for not accepting me, but keep me in mind in the future note. And 2 years later, I got a phone call saying, "Hey, would you want to come to Howard University? We remembered your interview, and you made a lasting impression, and we want you to be a part of our org." So that's something that
so you didn't even apply the second time. Like,
no,
the second time they were just like, "Hey, keep me in mind off your note," and then like 2 years later they're like, "She's still in my mind."
Yep. And I anybody I mentor, my mentees, I definitely teach them that no matter if you didn't get the position, be grateful for the opportunity, because opportunities is what is going to make the difference for you. You never know who you're going to be in the room with, so don't burn any bridges. You never know who you're going to walk past, and you never know who's looking at you. So part of like one thing I learned from my mentees, my mentors, and Year Up is to carry yourself the way that you want to be seen. Part of that is showing up for the person you want to do every day. I worked in a organization where it was very semi-casual. One of my bosses wore flip-flops, and I remember my mentor is like, "You better not go in there with flip-flops, because what do you want to be?" And I'm like, "I want to be a CIO or CTO." And he would always say, "Show up as a CTO every day. What does that look like to you? Show up as your best self, because people are watching you. They're watching how you present yourself." And not to say that, we're in a place where we don't want to judge people, but show up as your best self, and whatever that is. If you want to be the boss, show up as the boss. Take on responsibility as the boss. Spend extra time as the boss would do to research and to problem solve. Don't just be a problem finder, be a problem solver. My pet peeves are people who find problems and find them consistently, and you don't have any way to solve them. Please stop finding problems, because I have to fix them. If you don't come with a solution, that is great. I'm glad that you found this, but I hope you find a solution to help in the future. But those are key things that I have learned through working in the industry. I have not always been the person to take initiative. I've had managers call me. I say, "Hey, I see that you are doing the things. What are your thoughts? How are you going to get there?" Those are things that I had to develop. You have to develop those skills to be better and to be great. How do you want people to see you and remember you? How do you want them to recognize you? When, like, are you the person that helped, or are you the person who stood on the wayside pointing at the fire? And I'm not saying I've always been that. That's a learned behavior for sure. Because we can always see a fire. It's, do we have the initiative to do the things to make it better? So I was at Howard for 3 years. I've had several mentors. Tanisha is definitely been one of my and I'm not officially her mentee, but she's been my mentor, so I'm here. She doesn't claim me, but I claim her. That's all that matters. So I've learned a lot from her, just seeing the way she presents herself and carries herself in and out of the workplace, and just different women and men in those spaces that have taught me different things. And at Howard, we were a small team, so we were able to touch on everything. One thing I can say is take initiative. If you guys have a new tool, be the person to learn the tool. Be the point person. When you're a specialist, you have value. When you are the person who you're the only admin, you have value. Learn the things that no one wants to learn, and be able to add value to the room with your specialties. What else?
So you were actually at Howard during a very high profile type of thing. Are you allowed to talk about any of that? But
At this
maybe
point,
lesson learned.
lesson learned. I can give you lesson learned. Because I don't want any of their lawyers, okay, to come after me. I know who they are. Okay. So I was at Howard University during a recent security breach. That was one of the most career defining worst times of my life. It pushed me and pushed all of my abilities. And one thing I learned through that, it's not just what you learn technically, it's what you're willing to do on a personal level. What is your work ethic like? How are you going to push through? We were leaving sometimes at 12 a.m. with my boss and the team. I'm in the server room, even though I'm not the person doing the forensics, I'm there supporting it because it's my team. Doing those kind of things, being the extra hand for your team when things are going bad, and thinking outside the box, looking at what other people has done, seeing how you can show up for your team when everyone is very tense. It's a very
Stressed
tense
out.
time. You're stressed out. You're working extremely long hours. You're away from family. You're not eating, um, and you're just there. I just remember one day I just showed up with t-shirt and jeans. Said, "Well, I'm here today. I'm out of bed," and then I ordered Starbucks, and I was like, "I'm not dressed up today. This is what you're gonna get: t-shirt and jeans." So showing up on Saturdays, coming up with plans for different things, talking to lawyers, being on a debrief call to talk about what you've done the day prior, what you're going to do the next day. How are you going to assist the multiple teams that you're dealing with? Because during a security breach, it's not just a security team. The security team is the team that alerts you. Then you work with multiple other entities to ensure that you have remediated the threat. So you have to be able to um, work with other people, be able to be polite, be able to be kind, be able to articulate your thoughts, and not be so introverted in your head, but be extroverted in the way you present yourself. Being able to speak to your plans. If you're not able to put all the technical jargon in layman's term, your boss is going to say, "Oh, that's great. Now what?" What else? You have to be able to be versed in several things, and those are all tools that we learn on a day-to-day basis. I feel like a lot of times that we don't think that the interactions that we have on a day-to-day basis is something that will help us in our workplace. It will. Learning how to present yourself in a room full of people you feel like know more than you. Stating your point. You may say something and they may use the technical word for it, but you still understand the theory, understanding what you're talking about, presenting yourself, and then asking questions. There's a lot of things that happened that I didn't know. I was like, well, this thing is doing this. Do you see this alert? How can you help me? And we had subject matter experts, SMEs in the rooms that were able to speak to the things that I was able to look and say, oh, that makes sense. I know this is going on, but can you help me do this? Never be afraid to ask a question, because that's how you learn. Failure is how we learn. What else? But yeah, that's a lot of the things, and be willing to be dedicated when things happen. You have to be dedicated through adversity and push through, because a ransomware or a breach or of any kind it's a big undertaking, and it can be stressful and overwhelming. But just working together and understanding that the problem won't be just solved by you. It's a collective that does all the things, and know that you're doing something for the greater good. And once you have that purpose in mind, you're able to push through and have a good support system. Um, I feel like a lot of times, and I'm a big proponent of support and balance and work-life balance. Because if your home life isn't right, you're not able to do the things that you need to do, because you're thinking about other things, and you don't have that real sense of relief. what else?
So, you've taken us now up to the point where, you just basically got a cold call 2 years later because you wrote a note saying like, hey, keep me in mind. And they were like, yeah, we kept you in mind. In your experience thus far, through, I guess, Symantec, and then through your Europe program, and then through Howard, do you see a lot of women that are operating in the space? Like, do you see a lot of specifically Black women that are operating in your SOC?
So my experience actually was very interesting. In my Symantec journey, there was 3 of us. It was a lead. We had a lead woman in our SOC, and then she was actually African American. And then we also had a or was she was probably racially ambiguous. I don't know. I'm sorry. But somewhere in the spectrum of brown girls. But then our other intern, she was also a brown skinned girl, and we worked really well together. I think I couldn't survive my internship without her because we became our support system. We both had to finish our internships. When she had work that she didn't have time to finish, I would do that. When I had work we vice versa. We traded and collaborated on a project so that we can finish together. And that's still a dear friend I have today. She went on now. I think she's getting her master's. She's doing incredible things. She's just one of those people I've met in life that just like, you get this and you do a great job at it. And then at Howard, because it's an HBCU, a lot of the workers were African American or brown, and which was a beautiful thing for me because I was able to be around leaders that are women and men that I was able to learn how to see someone that looks like me that I can aspire to be. Like my last CIO, she was amazing. Like the way she handled our breach was one of the most beautiful things I've seen. She handled it with grace and a smile.
Work of art.
Every day she showed up with a smile. I'm like, how are you here? You haven't eaten lunch yet. She's like, well, I'm here. I have to be here. And some days I used to just like, do you want anything I used to just know her order, show up in her room. She'll have her door cracked and I'll like, hey, I'm dropping off something, and I'll knock on her window and she's like, how did you know? Providing that support for her because she provides such great leadership for us. Having women in different departments who work together, like, hey, I think you're doing a good job, working together with doing things that you normally wouldn't do, going above and beyond because you're with these people for 8+ hours. They become your second family. You develop relationships and you cultivate them in a way that is beneficial to you. And understanding who has your back. There's a lot of things in the workplace arena that we don't think about. Look at the people who support you and support them. There's so many other things that you could think about, but because I worked at Howard, my view is a bit different because I see the things. Also, I've worked in corporate America, so I haven't seen it. I've seen both. I haven't seen it and I have seen it. So I still know that it's attainable. And being around women like you and Rebecca and women who are growing in their space and who are in management and are doing the things that they set out their mind to, and that are just accountable to their words. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think that we need to see people do the things that they set out to do and not be afraid and support each other. When we get to that point, I think there will be a little bit more equality because we're holding each other to a higher bar and to be the people that we set out to be. You don't get to where you want to go by yourself. Like your life is not an island. Like you're not here by yourself. We're here for community. So having the Black Girls Hack community, having community at work, having your family, having those people that support you and see your dream. Granted, everyone is not going to see your dream, nor may they need to know all the intricate details, but they just need to know how to support you for that moment. And that's one thing I state to the people in my life. How can I support you today? If it's a friend needing a wake-up call so that they can conquer the world at 6 a.m., I can do that. You know, I can call you at 6 a.m., say, hey, you got that thing you want to do. Let's get it done. You know, you got that for you know, that's how I feel like we can bridge that gap and see more of us in the room. We hold each other accountable for the things that we want to accomplish, and then making sure that your friend has a plan, not just I'm sorry, the people outside are yelling. Okay. Sorry, I was like, wow, sorry.
But it sounds like the people have been very much so the connective tissue to, you know, your trajectory, you know, onward and upward, you know, being able to make those connections and then be able to rely on those connections for you to, you know, make your next move. As opposed to when most of the time when we talk to people who are like, you know, hey, how did you get here? They'll be like, oh, well, I got this, you know, degrees and I got these certifications and I put in, you know, I did this and I did this and this is how I got here. Right. And for you, that's not necessarily, that hasn't been the case. You've worked the networking piece, you know, I'd say pretty much all of your career.
Yeah. So everyone would say you love people. And I do. I like people. They're fun. Also, I wanted to be my degree also wanted to be sociology because I wanted to understand the way people think. So maybe there's a part of that in there, but I enjoy people. I enjoy getting to know their stories. I enjoy all the things because once I understand the person who is around me, I can support them and they can support me. Once you understand me, you can support me the best way that I need to. If I need to accomplish this and I tell you these are my obstacles, you can support me by saying, hey, I can show you a thing that can help you in this new arena you're going into. I think interpersonal connections and relationships are how I grow. One-on-ones are usually how I grow the most because I can ask all the questions. I can remove the mindset of being afraid, and I can remove the mindset of that this person is above me. Now we are on a one-on-one level. We can make eye contact, and that's like virtually or, you know, in person, but we have that ability to just connect together.
You're another human, you know.
Yeah,
it
on a
takes out the
level.
status and the
all
of the
like,
pretentiousness.
I'm not a status person. If you ever meet me, I'm not a status person. I will jump in and do the work with you because I don't care. As long as the project gets done and it needs to be done, I'm okay. I'm not the person that's going to say, hey, I am blah, 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 and I don't need to do this thing. That's not me. So I like to get to know people on a human level because that's what it all comes down to. Like my own personal mantra is like, life is short. You just never know. Like, I want to be the best me that I can be. And some days I fall short of that, and that's okay. And learning how to create strategies and automate my life to become better every day. And this is me as a woman. If I am not a good person as a woman, I will not show up in my workplace as a good person. Like, and not to say that I want to be I just want to be the best person that I can present. I may not be correct in all the things, but if I don't show up as the best me, there's not much more that I can do as I would not be a good employee. You know, I would be selfish. I would be, you know, I can't work with individuals. I can't speak to individuals. I think I'm above them, you know. All of those things I think play into how I've gotten here. And using my network, my mentors.
I think we can say, you know, that you haven't taken a traditional route into cybersecurity, right? So, you know, for the people who are coming behind you, what would what are the highlights of your experience thus far? And we haven't even gotten to your current position, because I think we left off that you just got a whole call saying like, hey, come holler come holler at us at Howard, right? But what would you say for the people who are coming behind you as far as like how to, kind of replicate your success thus far?
I wouldn't say replicate my success. My success is different. What happened to me, I feel like, not to say I am the quote unquote chosen one, but the route I
You're
took,
pretty amazing. I'm
questionable.
biased, but you're pretty amazing.
Questionable. But it's a hard route to take. And I would say use your opportunities. Use your opportunities. And at Girls Hack Village, my speech was called Opportunity Fuels Grit. If you have the opportunities, you can fuel the things that you want to do. Girls Hack Village is Black Girls Hack and Girls Hack Village, and everything that we do in this environment is things that you can use for opportunities. Being connected to you is an opportunity. You knowing my name to even be able to advocate for me is an opportunity. Use your opportunities to grow in the space that you want to be. Do not take any relationships for granted. I am a big advocate for that. Your relationships is how you get places. You may not remember all the work that I have done, but you're going to remember how I treated you. You're going to remember, did I show up in the room as someone who can represent your organization? I've had a talk recently with my he's our new CISO, but he was our vice president really randomly, like a month ago. And
At your current company, right?
my current company, at Tyler Technology. And I was advocating. I was like, we got to have more people in the room, blah, 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 blah. Black Girls Hack. And we're just doing all these amazing things. And the one thing he looked at me, he said, as long as they show up with the attitude like yours and that you want to learn, I'll accept them. I can teach them the technical skills. That stuck with me because I've heard that from other people. You just have to have the willingness to learn and to put forth the effort. People are going to advocate for you. You can mess up 1,000,001 times, but as long as you keep starting again, as long as you keep waking up again, you can fail the test, the next new security test 1,000,000 times, but you can say, hey, I took it and I've learned this from it. Hey, can you help me on this? And people see your initiative. People want to see that you're doing the things. They don't want to. One thing, if I have a mentee or if I have someone asking me for questions, I am a person that I will not chase you. I just won't, because I'm tired. I'm just tired of that. Right? If you want something from me, you have to come to me. And I tell people this all the time. I was just talking to someone and they were like, well, I want to do this. And this person knows I want to do that. Yeah, but that person is thinking about 17 other things. How much are you advocating for yourself? How much are you telling them that, hey, I'm still here. I know that you remember me, but I'm still here. Whatever you can give me, let me take a stab at it and actually do the work and the research to get there. That's something I think people do not value as much. We want all the certs, all the technology understanding, all the theory. We want all those things, but we don't even spend the time to do the things that are in front of us. One thing is, whatever you're learning in this season, you will be able to take to the next season. It's something that you add to your tool belt. Me being able to be the logistics person for Girls Hack Village, I've done it in a different arena. I have ran conferences, not in my career, but in my personal life. I've done things. I've had to navigate and work through things with over 500 people. So dealing with Girls Hack Village was like, oh, okay, I can do this. I kind of have an idea. I may not know how big of a stab I need to take at it, but I have an idea in the wheelhouse to do the things and to prepare for the worst. I think that we do not take all our experiences in life for granted. I feel like, just me, I'm a person who I'm a believer. Everyone has their own belief system, but for me, I feel like God doesn't put you in places for you to not utilize the tools that he is giving you. Because I was in year up, I was able to speak to certain things. I knew an elevator speech before other people in the field can do so. I can speak myself up in a room. I don't feel afraid. We were meeting with CEOs every week on Friday, or CIOs or CFOs. I can walk up to a CEO and CFO and have a conversation and not feel intimidated because I've done those things before. In my internship, I can walk up to my boss at a work retreat and say, "Hey, what's going on? Blah blah blah. This is what I'm going to do. And what do you think? How can you help me get there? How can we work together? Is there something that you're interested in?" Those tools are things that your life experiences are tools that you can utilize in your next arena. I've been a hairstylist. Before I've been a hairstylist before I got into cyber. I spoke to people every single day. I had to remember things about people. While I was doing in my internship, I did hair on the weekends. I was talking to women in the cyberspace and like, "Hey, I'm actually in this program. Can you help me?" I've met people that are in the industry who are great. And I was like, wow, like I'm actually in a place where people can see me. And that wasn't the goal. The goal was to be the person I set out to be. My goal is to become a CIO or a CTO, to be able to help with the strategic planning for an organization and to help with those things. That's my personal goal. So all the things that are revolving around that, I have to take in. You learn from everyone around you.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of the things. My hair is purple right now because of Miss Tanisha O'Donoghue. So, this is. I'm very happy about it. So, um, but no, I would say that one of the things that since I've met Tanisha that I found most impressive is, she's come in and she said, "Hey, I have a particular set of skills and I'm willing to help in those things, right? I'm willing to use my, skills as a, cosmetologist to, help you when your hair is red and not purple the way that you wanted it to be, or I'm able to help you to organize a whole, conference that you just decided one day that you wanted to do." I think I appreciate that about you. And I think that's part of the reason why you're doing what you do for Black Girls Hack, is because I've seen, the strengths that you have in meeting with people and making things happen. Being able to, run up on somebody's CISO or CEO and be like, "Hey, my name's Tanisha. This is what it is that I'm doing. Let me tell you how you can help me." And I think I appreciate that very much so about you. And I think that for the people who don't know you personally, I think it's important to know that you, like you said, you planned on being a cop. You had a psychology, background. You don't have a technical foundation per se. All of the things that you have learned along the way are things that your jobs or people or, have taught you. It's not like you were like, "Hey, I'm a math major and I came at this and I'm like doing all these things." It's like, I have used my people skills and my ability to advocate for myself to get to where I'm at today. Right. And today you said Tyler Technologies. And so tell us what you do day to day now for, what you do at your job.
Right now I am a risk and compliance specialist. Day to day, right now I'm writing policies. I'm not writing. Yes. I'm going to correct myself because it sounds so broad. I'm working with my team to create a policy management plan, which is something that you do to develop what your policies will look like and refresh them to be in compliance with the regulations and frameworks that are in your different jurisdictions. Different jurisdictions.
With you.
I'm sorry?
I said, I'm with you. I got the word.
I was trying to get it out. Also, I'll be participating in a few audits. We just came out of an audit. I'll be in another audit next month. Just all the things that are required in the compliance field.
And
What
you
else?
said at the beginning of this call that you thought that your next step was going to be into the audit space, right? So
Yeah.
did your job say like, hey, I want you to do audit things, or did you go to them and say like, hey, I want to be doing this. This is what I want to
So
do for you.
so ironically, inside of compliance is auditing. If you're doing an internal audit. So I was able to work through that subconsciously. One of my mentors is actually an auditor, and I would always dibble and dabble with her, like, "Hey, I think about auditing," and she's like, "Give it a try." But I now wanted to get into compliance because I liked the aspect of us fixing the things before we get there, before the things are broken. I feel like cybersecurity as a whole, yes, we have all these frameworks, yes, we have all these things, yes, we have all these different laws, but there's no one way to do cybersecurity.
Right.
Each organization has the same software, but they use them differently. Granted, all of us don't need to use the same things the same exact way because that's how breaches and things will happen, but that's neither here nor there. But um everyone does something differently. So from that, I wanted to create some standardization and wanted to help people understand what cybersecurity is and how we can maximize what's going on. So that's how my brain started dibbling, dabbling with compliance. And then I had to start writing some things for my previous job because we're a small team and started outlining things. I wasn't great at it. I don't think I'm great at it now. Um, Also, my boss would tell me, don't never say when you're not great at things. But honestly speaking, you're always learning in your field. There's always something you can grow at. I try to keep the mindset of um, humility as far as like, hey, I'm not the smartest in the room. Yes, I may be a subject matter expert, which I'm not, but there's still something to learn because there are different aspects that you're not thinking about. So that's how I got into that's how I got into this field. And I am a person who likes rules because if not, I would be crazy. Okay. I need structure because things will be crazy and I just don't like it. I don't like when things are not crazy, when things are crazy and there's not structure. So I try to create that. If you know me, I have like 17 different 17 different ways to do something. I have a plan for my plan, I have a structure, I have a system, I have the thing written out. I'm a concept driven person.
Equal
So
parts annoying and amazing.
I try to get you there. Okay.
As I often am the target of your like, hey, let's put this structure in.
Yeah.
It is equal parts amazing and annoying.
So yeah, I'm always here for the structure because one thing I think about is if we automate things and we get things on a structure and on a plan, we don't have to continue doing them. We can move on to something else.
True.
And that's how my brain thinks. Like, I don't want to continue to do the same things. Let's make it better and move on. Because then it sounds like we're the crazy person in the room, just keep, this is the problem and this is the problem. Or you're overworking your employees doing the same thing, or people get bored because it's monotonous. And you're really not growing if you're doing the same things. You're not solving any problems. Part of work is to solve problems and to make things better. How are we growing in this area? And we take metrics for a reason. Has
True.
things gotten better? Those are all conversations that are had. So definitely I definitely take a moment to think about how to make things better all the time. So that's kind of how I think about it.
Awesome. So you mentioned a couple of times Girls Hack Village.
Yeah.
How did that go? What did you think?
Girls Hack Village was amazing. Sorry if you guys weren't there. Hopefully you'll be there next year. It's amazing. So I started off Girls Hack Village by not wanting to do anything. So
True story. I can confirm.
Sorry, I came on the call. It's like, don't put me in charge of anything. What do you need me to do? then she chose the biggest thing to put me in charge of, which is the schedule. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do the schedule and I'm going to do it great. So I'm color coding, adding different structures. This is my wheelhouse. I am going crazy. I'm like watching TV while I'm doing this. And then my family members are like, why are you doing this? Like, we're having a good time. I'm like, no, but I'm having fun. And then I present this color-coded masterpiece in my head. Okay, it's a masterpiece. I still look at it like, wow, you did a great job. Masterpiece. And I'm like, this is what we're gonna do. And then Tanisha goes, yeah, okay. And then I'm like, so who are you gonna get to run it? She's like, I don't know. And I'm like, no one is gonna ruin this. We're gonna follow this to the T. So that's how I became a strategic manager, because I created a plan and I wanted to see it live up to its full potential, because I didn't know the hard work I put into it.
And I saw the vision. I saw the potential. She's absolutely amazing at strategy related things. She's absolutely amazing at, people, which is why her role is evolving with Black Girls Hack to move more so into the strategy and the people side, because you're absolutely amazing at it. Like, I don't know if that's what you want to be doing, but like you're really good at it. So and for me, I think that's absolutely amazing. So we have a question from someone that I'll just go ahead and throw this out before I get distracted. Brian from Kenya wants to know, he's just getting into cybersecurity, wants to know, are you on the technical side of cybersecurity or non-technical side, especially when you talk about your current job involving policies and compliance?
My current job, I am more on non-technical side. But prior, I was on the technical side. I was a blue teamer, doing all the listen, I don't have time to be doing what you do. Okay.
Join the dark side. Sorry.
No, I am not trying to break things. I'm just trying to put, some band-aids on there and be like, it's fixed. Like, you'll never be able to fix the things. But I definitely enjoy understanding the things as I got closer to cyber. I just had this conversation. You have to figure out what you're willing to do and what your personality type is. Tanisha is a person who wants to break the things and show you how it's broken. This Tanisha wants you to know that, hey, we can fix it before we even get there, because I don't want to do the work after. So you have to utilize your skills that you already possess and work together to see where you are in the cyber field. Cyber is so big. We only talk about the blue team and we talk about the red team. There's so many other things involving in that. And we're developing and creating more positions as cyber develops and matures. Cyber is still new. Cybersecurity was called information assurance a couple years ago, like a decade ago. Like, it's still new. Some people's names are still information security analysts. We should be cybersecurity analysts, but that's just my own argument. So things are changing. We're creating more places. And I feel like when you're in a place that works with your personality alongside your technical skills or non-technical skills or interconnecting skills, you're able to maximize your potential. So think about what your wants and desires and look at the jobs, look at the job description, look at the requirements, look at reviews of people, look on, a day in the life of a cybersecurity researcher, what they do. And does that spark your interest? Is that something that you're interested in? Oh, like, hey, I think like that. You're able to engage where you're going to be. And that's not an absolute of where you're going to be. You kind of have to work through it. Like, I've had several different names and I'm going to have several different titles. Like, I won't be any of those other things probably anytime soon. They're going to continue to grow and develop into who I aspire to be and that are linking to my world domination plan. So it's a growing thing. Like, everyone's like, hey, I want to be in the cybersecurity now. I want to make $200,000. Great. But what does that look like for you? My road is not your road.
And I think for me, that was one of the things that I found inspiring, and why I wanted you to come and have this conversation with folks is because, one, you don't come from a traditional background, and two, your position in cybersecurity has evolved. You've gone from, doing something in the blue team, which is very technical, to doing something that's in the compliance space, and then also strategies and policies, which are very much so in the management leadership space. And you're able to pivot very easily, I think, amongst those different things. And I think that the biggest takeaway for folks who are watching this should be that, you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into one specific thing, right? You don't have to necessarily say, hey, I'm a red teamer, or hey, I'm a blue teamer, right? And Tanisha doesn't, despite the fact that she had her elevator pitch ready to go, right? Tanisha doesn't typically tell you all of the things that she can do or she's capable of, right? I actually found out maybe about a year or so, maybe it might have been 2 years at this point, I don't know, that Tanisha was a very technical person because, she happened to have, I scheduled a meeting at the same time that she had a call for her job at the time. And at some point during the call, she puts me on mute and then she begins to give a recap of her status for the day for the thing that she was doing. And I'm like, I didn't even know you were on the blue team. I didn't know that, I'm saying, like all these things, but it was just like absolutely like amazing that she just basically switched gears and just, rattled off all of the things, that, she had done to try to, mitigate the issue and try to fix the problems. Right. And, I asked more questions of her and she was like, oh yeah, by the way, that's how I found out that she, was also a cosmetologist, because I was like, my hair is red and I don't want it to be red. And she was like, I'm a whole cosmetologist. Right. So, I think for her, she is, as most of us are, a very multifaceted type of person with a lot of different skills. And, the two things that I think I love most about her are the fact that she's willing to use those skills, to help further, Black Girls Hack's world domination plan. But then also she is, willing to step in where it's needed. And I think that probably does her very well, in her job, in her day to day. I think that's probably why, Tyler loves her, and all of the people who that, she used to work for also love her. It's because she's willing to step in, and what she doesn't know, I think on the technical side, she's willing to learn, and to educate herself on. And I agree, Rebecca, she is absolutely hella impressive and just getting started, which is why, I attempt to try to push her out, maybe sometimes past her comfort zone, like, hey, why don't you go and talk to the people, just because like I believe it's very important, having done it so many years myself the wrong way, the value that people play in, your evolution and your, world domination story, and I think for Tanisha, she's younger than I am, but she's got that, right? She had it probably before I had it, and has been using that to move her way, right? So what, you guys may lack in terms of, technical skills or certifications or, degrees or whatever the case may be, you don't necessarily need in order to evolve and to get better. That to me is one of the biggest takeaways just from me knowing Tanisha O'Donoghue, not myself.
Yeah, I echo all of those sentiments. You use the things that you have. You're your biggest advocate. If you don't celebrate yourself, who else will? If I randomly, I'm going to add to this. You probably don't know I did a bit of cloud security. Yeah.
See, she just dropped some things.
It was part of my job day to day. We had a small team, so I dibbled and dabbled with all the tools. But to say those things, like, you never know what you're going to be put on. Use all of those things. Like, cloud security is cool. Everyone's like, yeah, it's this and that. I'm just like, okay. But I've done a bit of that, and I know a little bit about a lot. I'm a master of none. Okay. Like, I'm still working to understand those things, but taking a step to do something that's uncomfortable, like even speaking. I told Tanisha, I was like, I want to speak. She's like, great, speak. And I'm like, oh, I got to talk now. Okay. You have those desires, but you need to push yourself out of those comfort zones to do those things.
And not only did you speak, but you actually made your way up to the main stage at DEF CON, right?
Yeah.
What was that like? And I think you spoke at the Blue Team
Blue
on
Team
the panel of the
Village.
Blue Team Village. So how did that go from zero to hero so quickly? How did that work out for you?
I don't know. I just live in this world. I don't know what goes on here. Um, but seriously, I spoke on the main stage to represent Black Girls Hack and to bring awareness that we were there this year. Walking into a room with like close to 500 to 700 people, that's kind of different. I thought I was going into a room, maybe 100 people would be there. And I'm just like, this room is completely packed. What am I going to say? I have no value. Like all of the things that are running through your head. And one thing I can say is that it goes back to what you've learned and what you know. Once you are clear on what you have, what you're able to do and your capabilities, you can expand on things. I know what I do for Black Girls Hack, and I'm clear on that. I can do that. Okay. I can speak to that, and I have confidence in that. What are you doing that you have? If you're doing something, have the confidence and understand it so you can speak to it. The quote is stay prepared what preparation prevents poor performance.
Proper
Yeah,
proper
preparation
planning prevents
prevents
piss poor
poor performance,
performance.
whatever thing is. But understanding the planning part that we don't talk about is understanding what you do, be fluent in that, and then do the research to be clear in that. So if I could only speak about this pencil, listen, okay, this is a number 2. Okay, it got the eraser, it got the thing, it got the grip. Like I can tell you what this does in depth, but anything else that's outside of my wheelhouse. But once you can speak to what your capabilities are, that makes a difference. And I had to really humble myself in that moment and say, hey, you're here to talk about this. This is not about you. This is about what Girls Hack Village is going to do. This is about what we're going to, what we're trying to do, what we're trying to fill in this space. You talk about this every day. It's not a big deal. Me talking about myself, I can tell you my experiences because I've lived them. I've experienced them. I've worked through them. It becomes easy because it's your experiences. But what I will challenge you to do is, to take all of your opportunities that have been given and to maximize them, maximize your relationships, maximize the resources that you have been afforded, and create a plan and a system that works for you. Everything is different for everyone else. You work out something that's best for you. My system is different because it's me. Like, do not compare yourself to me. I'm not even on social media except for LinkedIn because I don't want to compare myself to no one else. And anyone around you will send me an Instagram picture. I'm like, I'm not on Instagram. Sorry. I can't fill myself with something someone else is doing because I'm focusing on what I have to do. Focus on what your next move is. Get mentors. Get in a place where you can look at the whole spectrum of cybersecurity and do more research in those aspects. If you're learning a new tool, do the research to understand it because you're going to have to speak to it. That conversation that Tanisha was talking about that she overheard, I forgot about that. That's super funny. It got to a point where my team was so small that we had to do debriefs on what they've done. And every day I would have to write a list of what I've done and create metrics to give feedback on where we're growing and what I am personally doing. I have to worry about me because I have to report about me, not anyone else. And I think when we focus on that aspect, we're going to be able to grow in the field because you focus on what Tanisha's done, what I've done, you can learn from it, but focus on what works best for you. If technical is your thing, you go and you be the best technical engineer in cybersecurity that you can be. If you don't want to manage people, I understand that, but I want to manage people. I'm good at managing people. I'm good at creating tasks and concepts. That's what works for me. I don't want to sit behind a computer, but I need to be able to understand it, to be able to articulate it to the people that I work with. I need to be able to help them troubleshoot problems. And all of that comes with the understanding. of the things.
So I have two more questions for you before we end.
Oh, man.
The first question.
Time up. Okay.
The first question is, you recently changed your tagline in your banner on LinkedIn, which is the only social media thing that you're on. It says, know your capacity and expand your know your capability and expand your capacity. Can you explain to us what that means to you?
So knowing your capability, that comes from knowing the things that you're good at, knowing the things that you can do. I dibble and dabble in graphic design. I like the way things look. So that falls into a wheelhouse of I can create things that look nice aesthetically. I like aesthetics. I pride myself on looking aesthetically pleasing to me. So I can create things in that aspect. So I dibble and dabble in that, knowing different things that you're capable of doing, and then using that to its capacity, which I mentioned a few times, is creating methods to where that you're able to maximize on the things that you're capable of, creating systems, creating networks, automating things. Like I know I like to do something. Oh, I create notes, and I have a Notion that I have my Notion page links back 3 years, and I'm writing what I'm doing today. Like I have written checklists, and that has crossed over. Like I need new glasses so I can see, so I can study longer, so I can. So I need the blue light blockers, and I need to do this, and I'm a person who's so detail oriented because all of those things matter for your growth. So creating a system that can expound past what you can do, because you only have 24 hours in the day. How can you utilize that 24 hours to get the things that you need to get done? And what do you need to get done? Like, I think we look at life on a 10-year plan, 5-year plan. What are you going to do for the next 6 months? We have 3 more months in the year. What are you going to do? How can you use the things that you have right now to be the best you in the next 3 months? What systems can you create? So knowing your capability, knowing that you can do the things, and expanding your capacity is creating ways to maximize on those things.
Awesome. Thank you. And then my last question that I give everybody, what's your world domination plan? What is up from here? And what is it that you're working towards?
That's a twofold. I know and I don't know. I think that changes for me about every 2 years. I know when I was at 24, 25, getting into cybersecurity, I was like, I want to do this by the time I'm 30. Now I'm 30, I'm like, that's okay. I want to do this. So you definitely have to look at your world domination plan, review it, and see if it's actually something that you want to do in your current life. For me, I still remain, I want to be a CTO, CIO, somewhere in the C-level suite, creating strategies. I wanted to be a cyber architect at one time. I still probably am going to do that somewhere in my career. But I know that my soft skills is what's going to determine where I want to be, because I want to utilize the things that I'm good at to maximize my growth and my potential. If it's strategy that I'm good at, good. I know technical things. I'm not really good. I can understand them. I understand the concept, but I don't have pleasure in doing those things on a day-to-day basis. I can do them, but on a day-to-day basis, what pleasure is it bringing me? And I'm all about work-life balance. What is your life? I don't know how to explain it, but what is your life look like? And this is a conversation me and Tanisha we talk about all the time. Like, how can you do the things that you want to do and you don't have the capability, and your life is, what does your life look like for you to even accomplish those things? Have you set your life in a place so that you can be Bill Gates?
Have you set yourself up for success? Are you building the foundation that you need in order to be able to support your plans for world domination?
Yeah, you have to focus on that. Being a successful person is not just having the knowledge. There's a lot of smart people that are not capable of being a millionaire or billionaire because they have to balance certain things. Being the smartest one in the room is it's not it's not always where you want to be. You have to use all of the things that you've been given to maximize where you want to go. So use all of your soft skills, all of your technical skills, all of your interpersonal skills, use all of the things that you have and see how those things that you're good at can get you to where you want to be. So I'm still figuring this out.
All right, thank you. I think we have time for maybe one question because we are a little bit over time at this point, but I wanted to give someone the opportunity to ask a question if they have one.
Tanisha, I just wanted to say, like I put in chat, Detailed Growth, The Power of Organization and Structure by Tanisha O'Donoghue, published by Tony Briscoe. I'm just saying, I'm out.
Listen,
he's ready for the book.
I am here for all the shot shooting, okay? Well, listen, that's offline chat.
All right, any questions for Tanisha? Oh. All right. Well, if not, I thank everybody for coming out and hanging with us for Bring a Hacker to Work Day. Tanisha, thank you for, as always, stepping outside of your comfort zone and hanging out with me. I appreciate you and everybody who came and hung out with us today. So we'll be off next week in honor of September 11th, but we'll be back the following week with Rebecca Skeet, who will be hanging out with us for Bring a Hacker to Work Day next. So I will see you guys on the cyber streets. Have a good day.
Thanks for coming.